you're supposed to wait and cough up phlegm after. There you go.
me.
Man, it is starting to be that weather now today.
Yep.
We were in the car. Don't let the off color balance here throw you off. I assure you, we're not actually red in the face right now. We're actually blue because it got freezing in the middle of the day.
Dabba dee dabba die. Dabba dee dabba die.
And we got to go to a movie theater that we've never been to before.
Right, yeah.
I've never heard of Marcus Cinemas before.
Me neither.
We were originally at the AMC, but needed to go to a later show instead. So I looked up, I was like, well, either we go in the city or we go to Addison at Marcus Cinema. I hope that's fine. It was actually very comfortable.
You didn't tell me the city was an option because I live in the city and I would have preferred the city.
To go into the city?
Yeah. There's no go to the city for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, what the theater was playing at in the city, I think, was the theater that I saw A Hidden Life in, the Terrence Malick movie. So I could have gotten a good nap there. I did last time when I went to go see a movie.
Apparently, there was a guy in there that also got a good nap during this movie.
Oh, in this?
Yeah.
Oh, I stayed awake during this movie.
Well, yeah,
the
me
Terrence
too.
Malick movie, I nearly fell asleep.
Sure.
What other movie are you going to see the animated Bill of Rights?
Oh, right.
From Schoolhouse Rock get gunned down on the steps of the Capitol.
Right. By apparently a bunch of liberals, because did you see the van had a coexist sticker?
Oh, did it really?
Yeah. I that made me shake my head like, oh, fuck you.
I don't know. I thought that was pretty funny. No, I didn't notice. I didn't notice the bumper sticker. I mean, seeing people are always shooting me on the steps of the Capitol. I assume they're shooting at loose pieces of paper on the thing like this movie. So this is no safe spaces that we went to go see.
Yeah.
That was playing. I didn't realize till I got some comments about it that it got a release last weekend, and it's not playing at the regular theaters that we go to, but it was playing in a couple around where
you hear that, Regal? Why did we have to go to a different
because they needed those extra screens for Warrior Queen of Johnsy. And a couple other Bollywood movies that are playing this weekend.
We still need to go see Loot Case.
Luke Case hasn't come yet.
Really?
Yeah, but at least around here. So this is the documentary that's starring Adam Carolla and Dennis Prager. Hang on, I'm gonna boost up the. Don't mind me. That's starring Adam. I'm boosting up the exposure a little bit. There, now we know. There
Better?
we go. Yeah, now it doesn't look like we're.
Totally red in the face.
Yeah, or into some dark tunnel.
Yeah.
That's starring Adam Carolla and Dennis Prager, and it's a movie about free speech versus college campuses. Really, like I would say that's probably about 80% of the movie.
Yeah.
About what goes on certain campuses when. There might be a conservative speaker or is someone who just generally kind of challenges a lot of their beliefs and fallout that can happen from that, be it protesting, violence. There are some scenes in this movie that feel like a horror film.
Right.
Like, or they are just trapped in this, in this, student center and shit like that, where I'm like, oh, man. Like, this is going to turn into, The Walking Dead any minute now. It's going to get gruesome.
Negan is going to come out with a bat and be like...
Yeah.
Rick.
I got a lot of people asking me to go see this, I think because I made fun. Because I would say that... Would you say that this movie is geared towards a conservative audience?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So because of that, I certainly had a lot of people asking me to go see this because I didn't like the last couple of Dinesh D'Souza movies that were out.
Oh, really?
Like Death of a Nation and Hillary's America. The difference between this movie and the movies that Dinesh D'Souza does is where, regardless of what you might think of this movie and what it says in it and what the people say and the general point of it, the movie's genuine. Like it through and through is, whether it's Carolla talking, comedians, Dennis Prager, a bunch of people who are in this movie, be it people on the left and people on the right. This movie, they're being real about the points that they're coming across, whether you agree with it or not.
Yeah.
A Dinesh D'Souza movie is a troll film. Like, that is a movie. Oh, I should show you some, because they're kind of amazing. If you ever want to see a hologram Klansman jump out of a movie screen in the Oval Office 100 years ago, it's outstanding. But like, that's a movie that I don't feel there's really much genuine coming from it. It's more of a troll film made with the intent to piss off someone who's not going to like it. And from a filmmaking aspect, it's not very good either. Like, the acting in those movies are bad, which is weird to say about a documentary. The acting's bad. They're badly edited and presented. They're kind of great unintentional comedies. This isn't that. And while sure, I think that this is going to be a movie that is it's certainly advertised to conservatives. I feel like there were a lot of conservatives there in the audience when we went to go see it. But when you look at the message that the movie's pointing out and what they're trying to say about their different experiences on campuses, really the movie is full of people from the right and the left who've kind of come together to have these very similar experiences.
Yep, I agree with that.
From a lot of these monsters. So, what was your takeaway from this movie?
The takeaway was that, at the end of the day, a discussion and a dialogue is healthy, and that is definitely a message I can agree with.
Yeah, I completely agree with it.
If somebody was to come to my college campus that I didn't like, then I just wouldn't go.
Right.
I just wouldn't go to that event. I just I don't feel the need that I need to burn this motherfucker to the ground because Megyn Kelly is going to be giving a speech at my school.
And I agree with that. Like, I completely do. Like, I don't look. I'm not conservative. It's not like I'm going to be going to a Ben Shapiro talk or something like that. But there doesn't need to be practically a SWAT team for him to be making appearances. Right. And this pandemonium going on. Now, look, if it's a case of this free speech issue they're making, because, look, he's not being threatened persecution by the government to be put in jail or anything like that.
Donald Trump himself was in Chicago a month ago.
Yeah.
And it's not like protesters burn the city to the ground.
Because I look at a movie like this, and it's not so much because, look, it goes both ways if we're talking about a free speech thing. Protesting is also covered by that, right? Like, and I think, and if you're watching this movie and you're thinking those thoughts in it, whether it's like, well, okay, these protesters are also are covered by this too, like it's a free speech issue for them as well. Or if you're having thoughts like, well, okay, well, what if like a Klan rally wants to show up or something like that? The movie does, if those thoughts are in your head when you're watching it, the movie does address those. Yeah. It brings those up in a conversation that it has with various students, faculty members, between them and the host. And when I look at it, it's not, look, if you're having a very provocative figure who says very controversial things on a college campus or giving a speech, it might get protested.
Yeah.
That's been the case for a very, very, very long time.
And peaceful protests are one thing. But
exactly.
When straight up riots are another.
When it looks like the LA riots.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Right.
And it gets scary in some of these scenes.
And
it really does.
And what's funny is how unapologetic some of the kids that were involved in these well, let's call them what they are. They're riots. So whenever these kids who are interviewed about these riots, they're just like, man, well, next time it happens, we're just going to have to come out even harder. And it's like, no, that's not what, no, fucking no, you don't get it.
I think it's good to have these dialogues like you can have on a college campus.
Yeah.
Between somebody of the left, somebody of the right.
Yeah.
And because this movie does do that in a lot of scenes where it has a lot of different people from a lot of different political backgrounds, again, really just kind of debating their issues.
There's even clips of Obama basically saying the same thing. So...
He said it recently, too.
Yeah.
And people on Twitter wanted to cancel him. What? It's like, first of all, I've been canceled more times than Family Guy, and
cancel cinema song.
Yeah, and like Family Guy, I'm still here, baby McCarthy's. So
baby McCarthy's.
You don't treat people like sitcoms.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right.
That's childish.
Right.
If you take part in this canceling bullshit.
Yeah.
Hashtag all that says
South Park.
All that says to me, is that, if you're, oh man, I'm sorry, I hate to get on a roll here, but you see a lot of this when you work online like I do.
Right.
When I look at something like that, I think that is the product of somebody with a combination of zero talent and zero life experience wanting to feel super important. Seriously, trust me, you show me one of these, I've encountered these people many, many times.
Oh, I encounter these people on a daily basis.
Same. In your
in
car?
In my car, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's great. If there's one thing that this movie will show, and it's what I've said before, is you can have somebody that you can be sitting across from somebody, and you can be 80 to 90% in political agreement with that person, and they can still be the most narcissistic, arrogant douchebag you will ever encounter in your life.
Right. Oh, you drive for Uber? Uber is an evil corporation.
They got an Uber and said that to you?
There's been a couple, yes.
That ordered an Uber, and you showed up.
Right.
And they gave you...
Right.
That's like the war on Christmas protesters.
Right.
That buy something from Starbucks to protest it, so you can write Merry Christmas on it, or they buy Nikes to burn it. So you show me a person like that.
Yeah.
This thought-dictating, puritanical freak.
Yeah.
And I'll guarantee you that person has more skeletons in their closet than you've ever seen from anybody.
No doubt. And
trust me.
I don't doubt that one bit. It's just how dare you make it about them?
Yeah. I like when they try lecturing about comedy.
Yeah.
This pertains to the movie because the movie gets into that too.
So here's the part of this movie they missed, and I wish they had included him, Dave Chappelle. When he came back to comedy, there was a lot of backlash about what Dave Chappelle said about the LGBTQ community, and I'm just like, You guys do realize who Dave Chappelle is, right?
I'll bet you this was probably made before that.
Oh, probably.
Because that wasn't that long ago.
Okay.
And I think I don't know when this movie was made, but it's freaking cold in here. I'm sorry, guys. But
I just,
but that is like, I'm sorry. Sorry,
go
I don't
ahead.
mean to cut you off.
No,
but
go ahead.
but this movie does get into the stand-up comedy thing too, and that's and what they're kind of talking about, like how people have come up to him like off stage over what is clearly a joke,
right?
A dark joke, sure,
right,
but a joke. So and it's like watching somebody like this lecture somebody on comedy is like a stuffy old woman from a 50s rock and roll movie trying to give you advice on rock and roll music. Like, okay. Sure.
What was her name? Sister Loretta or whatever? I can't remember. Someone in the comments will write it and I'll be like, that's the one.
Like, oh my God. Like when you see like those like 3-page essays, which I've gotten before, look, here's what you need to know about humor. I'm like, this is a lot of pages for what could be chalked up to I'm not funny, and here's a letter that I wrote to you.
You'll just have to believe me. I am the authority on comedy, and I know comedy. Okay.
Satirical bigotry is still bigotry. No, it's not. Yes, and I said a sex joke, so I should be put on the sex offender list.
Okay, right now. Okay, here.
What are you doing? No, don't publicize those jokes I told you. It's wildly out of context.
Oh, speaking of context, I will say that there were a couple of instances in the movie where they left context out.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
So the student senator who says she was Christian. Obviously, when you watch the footage of the backlash, it was because she voted for an LGBTQ bill. And that so whenever you vote against something like that, I will admit that you're gonna need to expect some backlash.
Yeah. Violence,
right? No, violence, and I think wasn't she the one that said that she was assaulted?
She was assaulted. I can't remember if that was that one or not. Okay. But I mean, the movie is also kind of repetitive too.
Right,
like,
right.
You kind of.
It's very jumbled. It was very jumbled.
You get the point by watching a half an hour.
You're right.
You really do.
You really
like
do.
It does overstay its welcome after a while. The stories are all pretty similar.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of variety. Some reenactments are a little corny too. And there are parts like that where you could tell they were leaving out context of what a person might have said or done.
Yeah.
Not that means that they should be attacked or anything like that. But you could tell they were kind of being a little
like they were like in the movie they were trying to paint these people as the real victims when they were.
You did something that's going to cause backlash.
Exactly.
But I don't think this movie's necessarily against getting backlash. To like overall backlash, like because I mean the movie says that it wants debate and things like that. It frequently has people debating each other.
Maybe obtuse backlash.
Sure.
There's something against obtuse backlash.
Yeah.
And I think we can all agree that that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. My feeling in my hands are completely gone.
Do you want me to turn the car back?
No, it's all good. It's only going to get worse throughout the winter. I should really get used to it at this point. But, I mean, this was it's like I said at the beginning of this, like, there's a lot of people in this movie that, like, I'm sure that I disagree with on a lot of different politics. But a lot
Tim
of stuff
Allen
that's
being
in
one of
this,
them.
sure. But again, see, that's in like. I'm sorry, I still like Tim Allen. I grew up not. It doesn't bother me when a celebrity doesn't have the same political beliefs that I do.
Sure.
It doesn't. I don't care. In fact, a lot of my favorite filmmakers are conservative, and I'm not a conservative.
I did grow up with Tim Allen. I did watch Home Improvement, but I also liked Home Improvement because it was politically ambiguous.
Sure.
Whereas Last Man Standing was very much this like conservative.
Yeah.
The character was all about being conservative, which is fine.
Yeah, it just means that I'm not the audience for
exactly.
it. Like,
And it means that I'm not going to watch it.
Right.
Am I going to start a cancel Last Man Standing?
No.
Hashtag no.
No, especially
No,
because what you see, and this is another thing I see all the time too. Like what you're seeing in this, it bleeds over into like, film analysis and things like that, where things just become this checklist that you have to see, or else your movie sucks.
Right.
Or
Right.
it's oh my god, or it's. If you're a critic and you use the word problematic, quit. Yeah, it becomes like they're counting lines. They're counting Anna Paquin's lines in The Irishman, even though there's context for that being the way that it is in the film. But yeah, Tim Allen is in this movie, and he's talking about Last Man Standing being canceled, actually canceled, like a TV show. Even though it was doing pretty good in the ratings, and they.
I'll have to take the word.
I don't know. And on the one end, it's like, well, okay, yeah, I can't say that I'm for that, really, if they took what's a popular sitcom, and again, I don't know if this is another thing where they're leaving some context out, but if you're taking what's a popular sitcom that a lot of people are watching and you're taking it off the air for political reasons, maybe. No, I don't agree with that, especially if it has a big audience and is really big in its time slot. But again, a company still has the right to do that.
Sure.
To say that, like, if you're running a club, or if you're running some club or like an event center or something like that, you still have the right to say who you want there and who you don't really. Like, again, it's one of those things like protesting. Free speech goes a lot of different ways. You can like some of it and dislike some of it.
A prime example would be this was back whenever I still lived in Springfield, and I saw an article about a Supreme Court judge ruling, or it was a judge. I forget which judge, but a judge ruled in favor of the Westboro Baptist Church to protest, not to protest people's funerals, but to just protest other stuff, because he actually said that it's all about the freedom of speech, and if we stop the Westboro Baptist Church from speaking, then who else who's next?
Yeah, they bring a similar point. In the movie.
Yeah.
So the movie.
And
go ahead.
So what I was going to say was, I really resonated with that idea, because like I said, it just seems like that. Yeah, I mean that's logical, I guess.
Yeah, you need to see what that is. Otherwise, the Westboro Baptist Church.
Right.
Otherwise, that kind of evil, you need to know what it is.
Right. Exactly.
You need to see it.
Exactly.
You need to have knowledge of it.
Yeah.
They say in the movie, and this movie is hardly the first time this point's been made, but like that if you don't, then this kind of thing just goes underground and could conceivably get even worse than what it already is. And it's the same thing about people speaking as well, that maybe you have very serious disagreements with. If you actually have that person up there and let them talk, if they say something outlandish or that actually is gonna get them in like serious trouble or something like that, you do that by actually having them speak at these events and whatnot, and putting a face on it, and having people and just letting people decide for themselves sorry, it's so fucking cold out here.
I know.
And be like having them.
I'm over here like a fly.
Yeah, having them decide.
My hands around.
And having them hear it with their own ears and let their words speak for themselves. Versus again having it be totally underground and just conceivably getting even worse. Sorry for repeating myself. I'm simultaneously trying to talk and shiver at the same time.
Yeah, no. I'm kind of with you. I think the cold is like kind of slowing down brain processing.
But did you like the movie?
I can't say I was bored. I can't say I was disinterested.
No, I was always interested in what they were saying. Yeah, I totally was.
Yeah.
I was, again, from a lot of people that I disagree with very much politically. Yeah. But the points that they're making, I see what they're saying.
Yeah, I did too. I don't know. The thing about documentary filmmaking is your biases do show in your documentary.
Sure.
And I think that's the challenge to any documentary filmmaker, is to this is a challenge I will issue to any documentary filmmaker. Try to make a non-biased documentary.
Like a non-biased political documentary?
Yeah. Yeah. Or just something that has to do... some political topic. Whether it is about a politician or whether it is about just a topic that could be taken as political. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Make your documentary as neutral as possible. Mm-hmm. And I'll bet you'll find that very hard to do.
Might be very problematic, though, dude.
There you go again. Problematic. Cancel Cinema Snob.
This documentary is problematic. It's got a character in it who has flaws. Sure, but I mean, what I will say about you have tons of political ones at least, that come from a certain point of view or are trying to tell a certain narrative or a certain story.
Yeah.
Often with spin, sure, in the story that they're trying to tell. This, but I mean, what I'll say about this is that it is talking to a lot of different people of very different political leanings.
Because to be fair, I'll say the same thing about Michael Moore's documentaries. Right. They're very liberal. I like them. I like him. I agree with his politics, but I mean, I know that they are very liberal leaning.
Oh yeah, certainly, and those are movies too, and I've seen enough of them to know that, like, at least with he's more akin to go after his own side versus like a Dinesh D'Souza movie. Also, he's way more talented than Dinesh D'Souza is, whether it's in terms of editing, filmmaking, presentation.
Yeah.
Screen presence.
Say what you will about Fahrenheit 9/11. It flowed very. It had such organization that it was just like, okay, topic number 1, blah 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 blah. Topic number 2, blah.
And
blah,
again,
blah, blah, blah.
like, it's like I do, at least from that, like, feel in the ones I've seen, and it's the same with this one too. That although his movies I think are better made than this movie is, but his like this. at least feel genuine, which I think is important.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely feel like it's his point of view, and he's trying to get his point of view across and his opinions across. Whereas, again, I mean, not to keep bringing it up, but something like Death of a Nation and Hillary's America, no, Dinesh D'Souza's too smart to be that dumb. Like, those are troll films. Like, and I shouldn't have, like, I walked out of Hillary's America, and I shouldn't have done that. I apologize for that. But I made up for it by watching it later, doing a Cinema Snob episode on it.
You walked out of a movie?
Yeah.
Hashtag cancel Cinema Snob.
I wasn't in the mood for it. I wasn't. And I didn't know much about him at the time. So I remember sitting there, and this was already a hot year.
Hey, ho ho. Brad Jones has got to go.
Not for lack of trying. It was already... It was already...
poop joke.
Trust me, my shit's beyond frozen by this point. I didn't know that much about him, and this was 2016. It was already a very hot political year.
Oh God!
So I remember going in and being like, "What's this guy is calling people Klansmen and shit?" Like, I mean, I'm not in the mood for this. And we left. Retrospect, I should have stayed, but again, like I said, I made up for it by doing an episode on it later. There's nothing wrong with just being, I don't know, respectful, or just you wanting to sit and talk and get to know people.
Agreed.
And you know, I tried the whole, because 2016 is a hot political year for everyone,
right?
And I tried doing the whole being political on Twitter thing. Never doing that again.
No,
you lose
really?
your soul when you do that shit. Nah, you alienate people, and nah, not for me. I'm the guy who talks about Strokey-mon. People give a shit what I think about politics. Like, look, I know I'm talking politics. I will talk politics. I have no problem talking it.
I just can't believe you saw Strokey-mon.
Oh yeah, that was a popular video. It wasn't that long. It was just like a 10-minute movie. It's a pretty quick day.
Every
honestly.
Wood Rocket movie is like 10
It's pretty
minutes.
short, yeah. Like, yeah, of course we're talking politics now. It's a political movie. Like,
yeah.
You like clearly like there's probably going to be a Trump joke in a review of the Trump prophecy. You know.
Wait, there's a movie that Trump prophecy?
Oh, man, you've been living up here for a while. I got so much I got to catch you up
Oh,
on.
man.
That's the movie about the God Orb that shows up and tells the guy to vote for Trump. Because he has PTSD. Yeah. I saw that in the theater.
You poor soul.
No, that was
poor
great.
man.
It was an awful movie, but I'm so glad I was there.
Oh man. I'll tell you what. Let me. I do want to just add one item from this movie. He was complaining about how do you pronounce his name? Prager.
Dennis Prager.
Prager. Prager was complaining about how his videos are now on like restricted and
restricted mode on YouTube.
Yeah, and to that, I would have to tell him that he needs to talk to his conservative representatives who voted for net neutrality rollbacks.
Oh, I work on YouTube, and I'll have to take your word on that.
So basically, net neutrality, the repeal of net neutrality, is what allows platforms like YouTube to say, okay, that's not okay, and you can't now. You
that
can't
also
curse,
got
and,
that also got, when like the adpocalypse happened. Like, a lot of that was also kind of an answer to that. Like, a lot of ad agencies leaving when there was a lot of, like, alt-right stuff on YouTube. But again, like, yeah, he's talking about videos that he's got that have been restricted.
Yeah.
And that's another thing where I was kind of like, I want to know some more context here. Like, why? I was like, is there is there clips that are maybe kind of bloody, or
I mean, probably.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying
he during that testimony scene with a Senate committee hearing, he did say that the murder one, I guess, got a little out of hand, and he goes, all right, fine, I'll release one about the 9 commandments, that way,
right?
You know, I that's the impression I got, was that.
Yeah,
that's why.
I was just thinking, like, I kind of wanted to know more about that situation. I'm not, like, siding one way or the other. I was just like, okay, I kind of want to know more about what he's saying here, and about some of these videos.
But yes, if net neutrality were still a thing, he wouldn't have to worry about that. Well, to a degree.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's not like you could, like, post a snuff film, but I mean, you know. But you know, it's still, you know, in context, you can still. Back in those days, you could still curse in your videos and not have to worry about, like, you know, your monetization leaving. So that's kind of my point.
I remember the Blip TV days where you could, like, where you had to. You
could do anything.
It was the Wild West. Like, you could like you would set a rate. You would upload the video and you would set a rating. Which now you kind of have to on YouTube as well, but like theirs was like it was like the TV rating system, like TVMA, TV14.
Yeah.
But they never policed it on Blip, so like every video of hers was always like TVG.
Oh God!
The review for a Simpsons porno, like TV unrated.
It's The Simpsons, so TVG.
Yeah. Would you recommend this?
Only if you're willing to hear it out.
Yeah.
Only if you're willing to hear it out. If you're going to be one of those types that are just like, no, I don't want to hear, no, safe space. then don't go see it, because you're never going to.
For that, I'm like, why did you even rent it? Like, it doesn't seem like you would like this movie at all.
My now former friend rented it for me. It was on my Netflix queue.
Yeah, I don't think
cancel Netflix.
Never mind. The new season of Stranger Things. We'll cancel it later.
Cancel it afterwards.
I don't think this is something you need to see in theaters.
Yeah, probably not.
Like, this is like, yeah, if you want to watch it, have a good discussion about it afterwards, and, you know, have it on, talk with your friends and everything like that. Yeah, it's worth checking out, like, in like a home setting or something like that. Totally. Again, it had a very TV feel to it. Yeah. So I don't know if you need to rush out to theaters to go see this film.
Right.
At home, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. If you think it's something you might be curious
about. I mean,
about.
if you're the type of person that likes going to see documentaries in theaters, then sure, go see it then. But again, only if you're willing to hear the message. If you've got an open mind and you're willing to hear some points of view that you won't necessarily agree with, go see this movie. Otherwise, just stay at home and play Fortnite.
Don't you play Fortnite?
No.
Oh, you don't? I thought you did.
No, I'm not 12.
Hey, I tried playing Fortnite.
Oh, really?
I tried. It wasn't very good. Like, I'm not used to playing multiplayer games where I shoot at someone and they build a house around themselves.
I mean, how about this? Did you enjoy your experience playing Fortnite?
No, it was like, you know what? It got to a point on Fortnite where I was like, okay, my challenge right now is, because I've given up trying to kill anybody, my challenge right now is just to see how long I'll last before I get killed.
Okay.
And I was like in the remaining 10 at one point.
Dude, we need to develop a way that Scott and the Game Boys.
Oh, his movie I did called Game Boys in 2008.
Scott and who was Alex's?
Ray. I played a character named Scott.
Yeah.
Alex played.
Yeah. We need to develop a way that Scott and Ray would play Fortnite.
Would play Fortnite.
Wrong.
Oh, the animated series was still going.
Wrong place, wrong time. Guy with luggage.
Yeah, they would do like their own challenges in this movie.
You punch Christmas Jones in the face, and then you see how many.
Yeah, it was like to be playing the sniper level on Mission Impossible. Where the Mission Impossible for N64, where it'd be like, okay, let's see how many people I can get with a sniper rifle before the level cuts out. And like, World Is Not Enough, N64, it was like, okay, I got it. You punch Christmas Jones in the face and see how many people you can shoot before the level ends. Because you'd fail, and then like 10 seconds later, it'd go, mission failed, cut to black. I want to go around killing people. All right. Well, let's see. We got stuff coming up. This weekend is Jumanji, Richard Jewell, Black Christmas. There might be a few other things too. I'm not sure, but
you got to
warm this place up. Oh yeah, I'll do a vlog about that. Got an extraction tomorrow, my back tooth. So all right, see, I'll be numbed up tomorrow. See ya.
See you this weekend.